So Rob says, my oldest quit college after his junior year because he wanted to go full-time into his art. I was all in, but gave him parameters. He needed to live with me and save money and get a waiting job to make some money, and he had a year to figure it out, and he gets his own place and supports himself. He actually thanked me for pushing him out of the house after a year. Best thing I could ever do for him.
I think that's great. And then Lisa just said she did the same thing with her kid. So Rob, I think that's a good point, is that's how we support them, is let them get their bearings and get their feet and figure it out.
Yes.
But not enable them.
Yes, exactly. You need to be there for them to figure out what they want to do. And then you can then take whatever parenting steps you need to ensure that they get that way.
So for any kids listening, or for the parents to relay to their kids, because you're pretty comfortable talking to me and giving me feedback, solicited or unsolicited. But like, I know a lot of people aren't like that, because Matt and I actually had this conversation after our episode it's cool, or after the first one you did, it's cool that you and I can just have conversations. But I know not all kids are able to talk to their parents or don't feel comfortable. So what can the parents do to make the kids feel like, yeah, it's okay to come to me?
I told you this in the car on the way here. And
yeah, but they didn't hear that.
I know. But we were talking about that because, like with Kennedy, jeez, Mom, you almost spilled that. Anyway, like with Kennedy, it's important to step in and step out and chill out when needed, because if you're so pressing on your kid, they're not going to want to talk to you at all, because they like, when they think of like talking to you, they just think of pure stress, and we don't want that. So you need to like chill out a little bit when you can, because that'll build the bond between you guys, and it'll help in the long run, because they'll think you're like calm enough to talk to.
So I read a quote one time, and actually I saved it on my computer for the longest time, because I had to use this as a reminder for your sister. It said an escalated adult can never de-escalate a child. Wow. So if a child's worked up about something, us getting worked up, they match that emotion or energy or intensity.
Because they don't know anything else, so they match the vibe that you're giving off.
So an escalated adult can never de-escalate a child.
Yes.
So we need to be chill and calm in order for our kids to come or feel comfortable going to us. Okay. I think that's fair.
And if they mess up, then you can be like, it's okay. Like, you'll have another shot or something. You can't be like, that was a dumb mistake or whatever.
So talk about protecting kids and everything like this, because we've got a couple minutes left. And I'm just curious about this. I'll put you on the spot, of course.
Oh boy.
What is, parents worry about, we talked about friends. They worry about who their friends or kids are hanging out with and all that. We talked about education. And I agree. You need to go into something you're passionate about, because in my line of work, with my coaching practice, I get to work with some great high achieving people, which is awesome. But I'll come across a number of people in the corporate world who are miserable in their jobs.
Yes.
Absolutely miserable. And you've said that too. Like, a lot of parents they're just bitter and just not having fun. And so I totally agree we should support whatever kids want to do. So that's all the good stuff. Now, on the flip side, we do worry as parents about the crazy stuff, because your sister in middle school said that there are kids in middle school who are doing like coke and things like that. So are drugs as prevalent as parents think they are, and what can a parent do to help keep their kids on the right path with that?
Well, when I was in middle school, when I was in 6th grade, like, that was not a big thing. And so it's definitely changed within the past couple of years, because the idea that someone in 6th grade is like doing coke and stuff is wild, because that was nothing that I could ever imagine have happened in my 6th grade. But so it is becoming more of an issue, and it's becoming more like how parents think it is. But you still have to look at the kid and think about, like, could they be drawn to that? And if so, then you can like step in and be like, we're not doing that crap. And then but the people that you don't really need to worry about, it's fine, Right. So you have to know your kid, which is another communication thing. Yep. You have to know your kid and know who they hang out with. And then that'll tell you if you need to start worrying about stuff like that.
Okay. So what about, all right, so answer me this, riddle me this.
Oh boy.
So we talked, that was cocaine, which is obviously a big thing.
Yes.
But now the trend that I'm hearing in the middle school and the high school is the whole vaping thing. Is that as popular as we think, or is just the media making it sound like it's a crazy thing?
That was big in 8th grade, and now it's
in 8th grade.
My 8th grade.
Okay.
And then I haven't seen a lot of it in high school. I've seen some of it, and it's still prominent now, but I think because it's advertised as a lot like better than like
cigarettes or something like that. Yeah.
Which makes sense, but it still has like nicotine or whatever they say it does. But so you have to build up the kids I don't want to say brain, but like you have to build up some skills to where they know to back off from that, because it's advertised as like cool. A cool thing, like everybody's doing it, that kind of thing, you know. So you have to be there.
Well, that's what we hear as parents, is like all the kids are doing it, but you're saying it's really not as big as people think it is.
I know like 2 people maybe who do that, and of course I don't hang out with a lot of people.
Yeah,
because I don't really want to. But like when I go to like football games or stuff, there's like 2 people that I see. There's definitely a lot more, but I'm just saying it's like prominent. But once you know your kid and you can realize that that's not something they'll do, you don't really have to worry about it.
Okay, so it's really just raising good kids.
Yes,
teaching them right from wrong.
It's the formative years that you really need to worry about, because you can't really shape my mind anymore.
So what do you, as a kid, from a kid perspective, tell me what the formative years, because I'm curious. I know what's in my head, and I'll tell you after you answer. What is the formative years? Like for all the parents listening, what are the years where we need to be like, okay, we're shaping, we're molding?
Elementary school.
Really?
Then,
okay.
Yeah. And then once you get to middle school, you kind of start backing up a little bit. And in high school is like rough for a lot of people. And there's a lot of different factors that play into the high school life. So that high school is when you back up a lot, but also get ready to jump in if needed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because there's a lot of more people who like drugs and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's happening in middle school now, so I don't really know.
Well, and Adunu just commented, and I am wearing her jewelry line right now, Messiah House. Thank you.
They're very, very pretty earrings.
Thank you. Well, she did just comment and say that it, it really, kids are exposed to more now with social media, and it's an easy introduction to such behavior, because I feel like, with social, like, what are your thoughts on social media and how much it influences kids? And when I say kids, I mean like teens and stuff like that. In middle school, how much does social media influence your behaviors?
Oh, it influences a lot, because like now TikTok's really big, so all the kids are like doing the trends and stuff on there. But I deleted TikTok, and then I go on Facebook the most, and Twitter and Instagram, and I post on Instagram and stuff just like because I want to, just to like to show photos. But I don't really. But a lot of people are very invested in their feed or whatever, and want to make sure their pictures are perfect.
Okay. Well, and it's, it said good kids fall into peer pressure, unfortunately.
Yes.
So we've got to have, I think that, with the talks younger as a middle schooler, or excuse me, elementary, you said that's the formative years. And then we got to keep having, because if they're still falling in. And so, kind of as we wrap, this is a lot to get info, and I appreciate it. And this isn't anything surprising to me, because you and I have these conversations pretty regularly. But for parents, myself included, all the parents listening, how can we, once you get to your age or a little bit older, or even adult children, like even like, your sister's in her 20s, she's living in New York. It's how can parents check in to see how y'all are doing, or if you need anything, without it seeming like we're being extra? Like what is the chill way for a parent just to check in with a child?
Well, if you guys go from not talking at all to talking, then that's a red flag. But if you guys build up the bond, then you can be like, yo, what's up? You good? And then they'll be like, no, actually, I kind of need some money for some food. And then you'll be like, okay, cool. Well, why are you some money?
Well, it's all right. But even like the high schoolers, how do we check in with our high school? Because it does.
High schoolers don't want to be talked to. So don't even try.
Really?
They don't want to be talked to.
This is true, because I'll be like, are you okay? And you're like, I'm fine, Mom.
Yes, it gets annoying. So you have to have you have to know your kid to know when something's like not good, because they could be like, no, I'm fine. And you're like, Cindy, what are you talking about?
Yep.
But you have to know your kid more and be able to step in if needed. But you have to chill out a lot, because they don't want to talk to you.
Okay. So
like-
leave kids alone
Yes.
until we think that and I hear this too, it's like if you see a change in their behavior,
Yeah.
that typically indicates something's going on.
Yes.
So you're saying that we see a change in behavior as a parent, we just kind of go, everything good?
Yes. Calmly address it.
Okay.
You can't be like, you can't have like an intervention and have someone sit down. You have like a talking stick. You can't be like, so
We don't have a
I
talking
noticed,
stick. I should buy a talking
I
stick.
noticed that you have been having some trouble lately. And they're going to be like, shut up, stop, no. And they're going to walk back to the room and lock the door. You have to be like, you good? And they'll be like, no. And then you'll be like, okay, cool, great.
So what if they say yes and you know they're not?
Then let them be and then address it later in a different fashion. You have
So-
to be kind of creative with your talking to.
So instead of saying you're good, say you're Gucci.
See
What are we
what's
saying?
up? You know?
Okay. So you're saying just don't press. Eventually they will open up. Just let them know you're there as an ear.
Yes.
Okay.
And that has to start early on because you have to build that bond.
Because like you're saying, if you've never talked to your child or never been anything,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're like, what's going on? They're like, what's wrong with mom?
Exactly.
Okay.